Recording in movement.
Okay. So we have two more classes. One is a square and rectangle and circle. Total 3 classes. 3 classes inside I have implemented the shape interface. Same shape methods. See, we are implementing differently, right? But I'm using constructor and same for rectangle also. Rectangle. Same rectangle also. So we are overriding that. Okay, we are overriding the all this. Okay, and so then now we need to call them in a separate class. So implementation is done, interface declaration is done. How you can call them? This is a very important concept for us. So let's go and call, create a new class, call face. So call interface methods, okay? Call interface methods. So how we can call? So take the main method and you just take it. Interface reference variable equal to new implementing class. So what is interface? Shape, right? So S equal to new. So I want to call circle. So implementing class, the shape implemented in the circle. That data you need to provide. 4.5. Now you can call S dot raw method. So this is the first step I already told. Same in the WebDriver also we will use the same concept. Object reference dot, so non-static method. Void method basically. This is the void method, right? So this is the dry is a void method. It doesn't return anything, just you are calling. So that's the one thing. So how to call return type methods?
Return type.
So return type, data type, right? The data type of the, so variable name equal to
Return
object
type
reference, object reference dot
return type method.
And type method. So what is the data type? So the data type, no, you see that, okay? You're calling circle. What is the return type of these methods? Double. So that you write here. So double. So AR equal to S dot get area. So we print area of the circle is plus AR. Next. So you print the perimeter, circle perimeter. Perimeter of the circle or shape. I can say generic. If you want to make, you can make it. Okay. Area of the shape report, because I don't want to make it very specific. Get perimeter. So that's the how to call the implemented methods. Okay. So next call, how to call default methods. How to call default methods? Again, same procedure. That's also non-static method only. Object reference dot. So what is the default method we created? Run method. Can you see how can you find it out? There is a D option. So you can see here D. So method before just a D is there. That's a default method. So how can you call static methods? Interface static methods. So what is the answer? Interface name dot static.
Static method.
So like a class, same as a class, okay? So it's the same as a class. If it is a return type, return the value, then right side interface name, static method name. So this method is going to return, right, integer. So int equal equal to, and you can put interface name is shape dot. See, only your method name is showing and constant name is showing. So method name is get cube, and see it is SC showing. That means it's a static method. That value. So in the run program also it has run. So then how can you call constants? How can you call interface constants? How can you call so static variable of a class in another classes?
Class name dot variable.
Then what is this also similar? Interface name dot
Variable.
constant. So that's all about this interface can. And another thing is another package how to call. So this is the same package, right? So if you see here, and for example, I want other class logic. Suppose rectangle class logic. So rectangle class logic, if I want, what I need to do? So you have to give the values also. Okay. So constructor, so the parameterized constructor, that's why we are passing the values. So now you see you will get a rectangle logic, not the circle logic. For which class you create object, that logic will be called to you. So that's the rectangle. So area of the rectangle. That's it. Even same for a square also. If you want square logic, for the square you create object. Which class logic you want, that class you create object. So that's it. So this is all about square related. See, this is the very important you need to catch. Like, in the WebDriver, so WebDriver is an interface. That interface is implemented in each browser class. Which browser you want to run, that browser class you create object on the right hand side. And that will point to this interface variable. So now this variable data type is a shape interface. Now that is pointing to which class is implementing that class object. This variable is pointing to this class object. Now this class object address is storing in this interface variable. So the interface is variable pointing to the implementing class object. So these points are very, very crucial. If you understand that, WebDriver concept is very easy. And let's move on to the next, another package how to call. Call interface in another package. Call interface in another package. So again, procedure is same. Interface reference of object equal to new implementing class. Yep. This formula, everything same only. Shape s equal to new. So implementing class means which classes are implementing? Circle, right? Circle one of the thing. Shape, you implement the shape. Which package? Shape is there in another packages also. You have to choose the right package. So oops programs. Circle, so implement that. See, this is the extra step. So what is the extra step than this and this one? Are you getting here import statements?
Import,
No. In the same package, you don't need import. If you cross the package, other package, classes and interfaces, if you are using in some other package, what is the first step you have to do?
We have to import.
So that's our first step. Remaining all similar. Remaining everything is similar. There is no change. One time effort to import. Remaining all are same.
Same.
So there is no change in that. What is this? Okay, already.
Circle.
Okay. See, anywhere the procedure is same. Again, calling the non-static method, object reference dot that one. Return type method, data type, variable name, object reference dot method. So object reference dot method. So this is how you can call that. Default methods you can call like this. Static methods. Okay. So that's all about interface. Other than that, nothing. Let's move on to the next topic. Any questions before moving on?
No, sir.
Right.
No, sir.
Okay. So let's move on to the next one. Okay. And next topic is we have to so Okay, so I want to cover one more point. I missed it here. So it is going to support multiple inheritance, I told, right? In case of class, it doesn't support multiple inheritance. But in case of interface, it supports. So let me show you that how it will support multiple inheritance. So what is meant by multiple inheritance? Can anyone give me the definition?
Class C acquires class A methods and class B methods. Hello.
Okay. So not that one. Can you give more any other definition?
Class C
Yes.
extends A comma B, sir. If we
Okay,
take
that is
A
fine.
class
Yeah,
B,
yeah, that is okay. But can you make the so basically one class extends to multiple classes, that is called multiple inheritance. One class extends to multiple classes.
multiple classes.
So that is the multiple inheritance. Even in the same and so how you can prove that. So multiple inheritance is supported in case of interface. Multiple inheritance is not supported in case of
Class.
So let's prove that. First, you have to create a multiple interfaces, right? So let's create a multiple interfaces. So one is runnable. We create one duplicate method here. Void run method. Void display method. Okay, this is the one. So one interface. So just a declaration only, right? You should not define them. Interface. Printable. So here, void print. Void display. See, one method I'm keeping common. So why I'm keeping common? So I already told in the Selenium, in the class case. If you keep the method common, which method it has to call from different classes, the compiler will get confused. Now that kind of confusion is coming here or not, we need to see that, right? So that's the main objective here, creating multiple interfaces. See, I'm not just, just declaring the methods. So I'm not doing anything more than that. Okay, 3 interfaces I have declared. Now 3 is having few methods. Now I'll extends
This
runnable,
printable.
Now what is happening? one interface extends to multiple
interfaces.
See, are you getting any error here?
No, sir.
So that means interface supports multiple inheritance. So, but the implementation, when you do implementation for this interface in the class, you have to implement these interface methods also. So automatically, while implementing this interface, you have to implement these methods and also runnable and printable methods also. So runnable interface and printable interface methods also you have to implement. Let's go and do a one class implementation. multiple inheritance. So extends or implements.
Implements.
So that's the interface, right? We're implementing. So it should be implements. So now what is the problem here? Why is throwing error on the third line?
You have to implement all the methods.
You have to implement all the
Oh.
methods.
Class does not accept multiple inheritance.
Okay. So add implemented methods. Select that. Then you add the definition for these methods. So you didn't implement in these interfaces. So you got all the methods having a body now. So let's go and implement one by one. I don't know, it should work with override also, but somehow it is throwing error. That's why I removed that. But generally override works. Okay, so that's all implementation is done. So let's go and call them. Well, how to call? So what is the mapping between interface and class, implementing class?
Interface reference variable is equals to new class name,
New implementing class.
new implementing
Class. Interface name reference variable equal to new implementing class.
Okay. So interface name is global sh equal to new. What is the class we implemented in the multiple inheritance class? That's it. Now you can call all the methods.
Yes, it's done.
So did you get any duplicates here? No, right? We didn't get. Print method. Why is printable? We didn't save it. Maybe that is the reason. Yeah. So we didn't save it. So you have to save after creating. Make sure you save that. Okay. run as Java application. See, all are printed. Even though we made a duplicate method in all the interfaces, but we got only one definition method. So duplicates it won't consider while so implementing it will be only one. So that's all about this interface concept. Other than that, nothing, guys. So let's move on to the next one, very important. We have to focus on next topic, exception handling. So exception handling. So what is the exception? So what are the different type of exceptions? And when you need these exceptions, when you'll get these exceptions, we need to understand them. Okay. So exception handling means, so when you get runtime errors are going to display while running the programs or running your test cases, that time we are not going to be there, right? So if you don't handle them, your test case will stop in that line itself. Which line you got an error, same line it will stop. So that's the exception handling concept means. So to handle the runtime errors, runtime exceptions smoothly, and also your program execution will continue till the end of the line. Till the end of the line, the program execution will continue. So that is called exception handling concept. So what is exception means? So exception is an unwanted, unexpected event which stops your program execution. So the program execution will stop which line you got an exception there. Further, it won't move. It will terminate there itself. And so what is the error or exception? What is the difference between error and exception? So exception is again, it's an object, okay? You can catch them easily, those exceptions at runtime or compile time, you can catch them. But error is something, mistake is done in the code that you cannot catch that, okay? So unless you fix it, you cannot catch that. That's the error means. So it's a problem, so that a reasonable application should not try to catch that. But an exception is an object which can be catch easily. So that's the difference between error and exception. So when exception occurs, you didn't handle that, the program gets terminated in the same way. So that time you will get a system generated messages. So what about the good thing about exceptions is that they can be handled in Java. So they can be handled in Java. So by handling the exceptions, we can provide a meaningful message to the user about the issue rather than a system generated message, which may not be understandable to user. So that's the exception thing. So, but why this exception occurs? Why these exceptions occurs? There can be several reasons that can cause a program to throw exceptions, like opening a non-existing file and network connection problems. You are inputting the bad input. So bad data you are inputting. And so these are all reasons for the exceptions. So you know that, then you handle the exceptions. If you don't know, so you have to, if you run that, you will face that exception. Then you handle that, the exception handling concepts. Apply the exception handling concept on that line. So you know somewhere the exception is going to occur. Immediately handle that. So that even the exception occurs, your program will continue. So the program will continue. Okay. So now, what is the hierarchy of exception classes? So there are different type of exception classes, which are all available in java.lang package. Java.lang package, these exceptions are available. So the throwable class is the root class of Java exception. Okay, so throwable is the root class of all the exceptions. So which is inherited by two subclasses like exception and error. So the throwable class is a root class, and which is having two subclasses. One is exception and error. And so these exceptions, again, we have a compile time exceptions and runtime exceptions. So these are all runtime exceptions: arithmetic exception, null pointer exception, number format exception, array index out of bounds exception, string index out of bounds exception. So these are all the runtime exception classes. What that means, only at runtime you will get them. And there is a compile time exceptions, IO exceptions, SQL exceptions, class not found exception. All these occurs at compile time only. So error means stack overflow error, so virtual machine error, out of memory error, and assertion error. So these are all the error category. So these are all error category. So let's go and understand deeply what you call this exception, runtime exceptions, what you call this compile time exceptions. So there are two types of exceptions: checked exceptions, unchecked exceptions. So checked exceptions occurs at compile time, and the definition you can give: the classes which directly inherit throwable class, except runtime exception and error, are known as checked exceptions. So IO exception, SQL exception. So these are the checked exceptions. And unchecked exception means, so the classes which inherit runtime exception are known as unchecked exceptions. So arithmetic exception, null pointer exception, array index out of bounds exception. So these are the unchecked exceptions. So unchecked exceptions occurs at runtime only, not at compile time. So that's the types of exceptions. So what we are going to see now. So common scenario of Java exceptions is when you will get each exception type. So we'll discuss mostly in runtime exception classes, right? Runtime exception classes when you will get. So how you can resolve that? So the first scenario when you will get these exceptions are arithmetic exception. So arithmetic exception occurs. So basically when you divide a number by 0, then you will get an arithmetic exception. So if you divide a number by 0, so there occurs an arithmetic exception. So a equal to 50 by 0, so then you will get an arithmetic exception. So a null pointer exception, when you will get a null pointer exception. So any variable has a null value. Generally, null value is going to store only in the string variables and object variables, object reference variable only. These are the two cases have the null value. If any variable has a null value, on that null variable, if you call the methods and if you call variables, so some operation if you perform on that null variables, okay? If you perform the operation on that null variables, then it will throw null pointer exception. Then it will throw null pointer exception. So string s equal to null. See, on this null variable, I am calling the length method. So this is an object reference. On this object reference, I am calling the method. So that's why this method will throw null pointer exception. So this is the when you will get a NP. This is the regularly you will see in your automation or in Java code. You will see this kind of exceptions. So those exceptions, you have to be very careful and you have to handle them properly. So null pointer exception comes means there is something they are not passing the value properly to this variable. Okay, initially you can declare null, no problem, but later assign the value for this variable properly. If you're not assigning a value and still null is there, and your program will so throw null pointer exception. So a scenario where number format exception occurs. So third one, the number format exception means what? So wrong formatting of any value may occur, number format exception. Suppose, so I have a string variable that has a characters, so that you are trying to convert into to the digits. That is not possible, right? Characters you cannot convert into digits, like a string, right? String values you cannot convert into digits. If you try to do that, then it will throw a number format exception. Then it will throw a number format exception. So that's the number format exception means. So string s equal to ABC. So these are all alphabets, right? So these alphabets, how you can convert the, so one minute guys.